Inside these 2 garbage bags is the trash I created from eating Uber Eats for 2 whole weeks. And as you can see, I'm not terribly thrilled about it. Hey team, welcome back to another Levi Save the World Hildebrand episode, the channel where we prove that you don't need to be a hero to save the planet. Now, today we are starting one of the most interesting challenges that I've done on this channel because I will be eating every single meal for the next 2 weeks from Uber Eats. Now, if you watch this channel a lot, you are probably wondering, where did this video come from? This is actually a style of video that I'm hoping to do more on this channel, similar to our zero waste wedding, my no buy challenge, and an upcoming video next month where Leah and I break down our experience not owning a car in Canada for an entire year. Now, I've actually never been a guy who orders food regularly, so I'm getting used to this right now, but it does appear that my food is on its way and will be downstairs in just a moment. Let's go get it. See, the purpose of this video is to see what the costs of eating delivery actually look like by eating it every single day. Hey, Gordon. Because I think we order a lot of delivery food once or twice a month, but we don't actually know what that looks like built up over time. I will be paying for all of my meals on a separate card from Leah so that we can compare and contrast the cost of eating like this over the 2-week period. But what I'm really looking forward to is breaking down the amount of waste that this challenge creates. Every single carton, every single chopstick packet, every soy sauce packet, I am going to keep, wash, and store until the end of the project so that we can look at everything that we have generated. I also plan to be evaluating the rough CO2 emissions that was caused by having every meal delivered to my door. So those are the rough rules. Of course, these challenges never quite go the way that I think they're going to, so might as well just dig in and see how it goes. So this is our first morning of the challenge and we're already off to kind of an interesting start. All Uber Eats delivery options were unavailable because of a giant snowstorm, so I called in an order the old-fashioned way and braved the snow to go and get my breakfast. Once things got back to normal, the first couple days were pretty awesome. I could work more from home while my food was being made and delivered to me in my apartment. But there was more than a few times where the delivery aspect wasn't actually that convenient at all. Often, Leah and I's meals wouldn't line up to be done at the same time, or the driver would get lost in random parts of town, or Uber Eats would be down again, or I would accidentally send the driver to the wrong address on the other side of town. When I started this channel, I had this assumption that I would just be eating all of my favorite restaurant meals but here in my house instead. But the reality is Uber Eats only works with restaurants that can support them. More on that later. So I ended up eating a lot of less than healthy food during this challenge because that's simply what was there. One night, to compare the difference between an Uber Eats meal and a home-cooked meal, Leah and I decided to eat the same thing. I cooked up a tomato soup and grilled cheese sandwich for Leah, and then I ordered the same from a local restaurant. The difference was palpable. Let's give it a try. It's a little watery.
Is it?
So after 2 weeks of eating food delivered to my door, I have to say that I probably won't be doing that again anytime soon. I really enjoy cooking, and the process of cooking and the rituals that surround it really help to bedrock my entire life. And I don't want to sound dramatic about it, but it's true. When you go out to a restaurant, there are certain qualities that make it special. There's ambiance, there's new ingredients that you might not have tried. When you're at home, you get to go through the process of being the creator of food, to provide for yourself. There's something very satisfying and nurturing about that process. With Uber Eats, you sacrifice both of those things in exchange for convenience. So here we are. The challenge is completed, and I can't thank my Patreon supporters enough. These kinds of videos take so long to make, and it's kind of a risky thing for me to do as a content creator, but it's people over there that make these kinds of things possible, so huge thanks to them. If you're interested in joining the Patreon team, there's a link down in the description, of course, where you get monthly secret podcasts from me talking about my process here on the channel and different updates about sustainability and environmentalism in the rest of the world. So check that out if you're interested. But let's get into the summary of this challenge. So I got super lucky in this challenge because for some reason the UberEats app thought that almost half of the orders that I made throughout this challenge were my first order. So I saved 50% off of the total cost of my orders for like the first 11 orders that I made. Even with that discount though, this challenge was still really expensive. This 2 weeks worth of food cost me $542.74. Now maybe for you that seems like a ton. I know it does for me, and maybe for some of you it doesn't. But let's just put this into comparison of what Leah spent in the same amount of time. Leah spent $75.82. We actually added $20 to that figure because we were sure that we had somehow accidentally paid for something in cash because it seemed way too low. And based on a not very scientific estimation that I made based on numbers I found on the EPA website, my deliveries alone created over 112,000 grams of CO2. That's the equivalent of one full tank of gas for a car strictly just to deliver my food. But if CO2 is a little hard for you to visualize, take a look at how much trash it created. And this is where I think things got extremely interesting. Throughout the challenge, we collected every single piece of waste that we generated from every order in order to highlight the crazy amount of unnecessary garbage that's created when you order food to your house. This amount of trash isn't actually as bad as it could be. The city of Victoria, where I live, banned plastic bags last year, hence why you see a lot of cardboard and paper alternatives. I drank almost all of my coffee and tea at home or in a reusable thermos, which you'll know all about if you saw my last video. And Uber Eats gives you the option to select cutlery if you need it, but I was given cutlery in almost all of the orders that I was sent anyways. Now perhaps 2 giant bags of garbage is enough to illustrate my point, but we're here on YouTube, so I dragged all that garbage into the middle of a field, spread it out all over the place, and flew my drone above my self-line in the middle of it to illustrate the point. Now, I know what a bunch of you might be thinking. Levi, a lot of this stuff back here is compostable or recyclable, but I will remind you that a lot of our recycling streams are deeply flawed. I'll link a bunch of videos down below that explain this in more detail, but basically, the reality is most of the stuff that we put into our recycling bins don't actually get recycled. And composting is only available in cities that offer composting services. And that's even if the things make it into the bin in the first place. See, the problem is we need to come up with a way to avoid this in general because we know that we don't really know what to do with this as a species overall. I realize that I just spread a whole bunch of trash all over the ground just to make this one video, and it looks like I'm reenacting that scene from Mad Men, so I'm gonna clean this up and get out of this park. Now, I have to confess that I didn't actually get every single meal delivered to my house because it was already such a wasteful challenge and it was hard for me to generate all of this unnecessary stuff, even if it was to make a point. But I learned something interesting in the process. Probably my favorite and most ordered meal was Indian food from a great spot called Sizzling Tandoor just up the street from our house. So I called them and went to go pick up my order.
And the woman explained that if I returned the bag that I got my delivery in, I could save 10% off my next order, which is a great incentive to not only reduce the amount of waste, but save them money. I explained to her what I was doing with the video, and then she had to talk to me about what she felt about Uber Eats as a restaurant owner. Turns out that Uber Eats isn't actually that awesome for a lot of restaurants. Because of the cost of extra packaging and the 20 to 30% fee that every restaurant has to pay to be on Uber Eats, a lot of their meals don't even break even. This blew me away because that means that Uber Eats doesn't actually do anything. You can order food on the phone. You can go to a restaurant and get food. Uber Eats has just made us all feel like ordering restaurant food to your house is completely normal, which it's not. So if you truly want to support your local restaurant, consider ordering via the telephone the old-fashioned way, or better yet, just actually going there to eat your food. I guess the craziest part for me about all this is what this is all for. Just for the idea of convenience, we are willing to eat a lukewarm meal out of a box, pay twice as much for it, create a ton of unnecessary waste in the process, and actually prevent the restaurants that we are ordering from to continue doing the thing that they want to do. Is it actually that convenient that we're willing to do all of those things and create all of this stuff to do that? And that's why I created this video, to point out this crazy irony, because the problem is we don't have a solution for this right now. The closest thing that I could find is a company in Portland called GoBox, and they provide to-go containers that certain restaurants provide throughout the city so that you can bring one home and then exchange it the next time that you go. But this is very small scale and not nearly at the level that it's going to be able to service the millions of people that want to order delivery every single day. Because the reality is we just can't do this forever. This will not work. We need to reduce the amount of single-use items that we create, not inflate it by ordering food that we can eat at home. Now, I've made some videos about what we eat in a day and how we choose to eat in the past, so if you're interested in checking those out, there's links below. And if you are interested in more content related to how you can live a more sustainable life in general, maybe hit that subscribe button, because that's literally what I do here on this channel. And if you love what you see on the channel and you dig what I'm doing, you can support what I do by joining the Patreon team that made this video possible. But no matter how you got here today, whether it was through the recommended, or you're a longtime subscriber, or you're from the Patreon team, I want to thank you for watching this video, because it means a ton to me, especially stuff like this that takes me an incredible amount of time to do and jeopardizes my physical health in the process. It means a lot that you show up and that you leave these comments and that you create this kind of dialogue, because that's what I want to do. I want this channel to be a place where we can talk about these things and make a difference. So thank you so much. And if you are subscribed to this channel, then we will see you in the next one.